Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are continuing to add a few stories into my December daily album. So slowly but surely I'm getting caught up, or at least more caught up. So as I always do every year, I never work like every single day and do one story a day. I just have like an overall 25 stories from the season, and I usually batch those. So every few days I'll do a few stories. So I think I'll be able to get back on track here pretty soon. So in this video, we are going to do 3 stories, and the first 2 are all about New York still. So if you've watched my previous video, what I did was I kind of did an overview of our New York trip with like a lot of different photos and all the main little stories about the trip. And then this one, I picked out 2 specific stories while we were there that I knew I wanted to like do a little bit more of a deep dive into for stories 6 and 7. So I'm going to be working on them sort of backwards. So right now we're actually starting with story 7, and this one is all about the Strand Bookstore. So the reason why I really wanted to focus on the Strand for this video is because of the TV show Dash and Lily. So definitely let me know if you've watched Dash and Lily before. It's a Christmas show that's on Netflix. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It is one of my absolute favorites, especially like modern day favorites. You know, we all love the classics, but this one is super good, and I've been watching it for the past several years every Christmas, and I absolutely adore it. So I'll tell you more about that, but let's kind of talk about the layout just a little bit. So here I have a full-size photo of the bookstore that was all decorated for the holidays, which is just an added bonus. I swear they decorate every place in New York. It's just so beautiful. Everywhere you go, there's lights and there's, wreaths and bows, and it's just so gorgeous and just really puts you into the spirit. So I really wanted to showcase that large full-size photo. But on the left side, my story number 6 is also going to have a full-size photo that's like really, really like overflowing with color. So I didn't want to have those 2 photos competing with each other. So I wanted this one to kind of be hidden behind like a couple doors here. So you'll see that I have my photo, and then on the right side of that picture of the Strand, what I did was I created a little hinge with a piece of just regular computer paper. And then I added on my pretty pattern paper there. So then whenever you you can have it closed and it'll cover up the photo, or you can open it up, but only the right side of the photo is attached to that hinge. The left side is still open. So just to make this paper prettier, I didn't want you to see that little piece of computer paper that I used for the hinge. And you don't have to use computer paper for it. People use washi tape or all kinds of stuff, but I just prefer computer paper. It makes it feel more sturdy to me personally. But just made that, and then I'm adding a little bit of cute pattern paper onto the inside. This paper might be crepe paper or something. I'm not sure. It's the only sheet that I bought from this collection, so I'm unsure what it is, but it has little Santas on it, and I thought it was really cute, so I added that into my inside flippy pocket. And then also you'll see that I added one more of those fabric stars there to kind of be my enclosure, which you'll see as we go. So then on the left side, I needed something to cover up the left side of the photo. So I did order this pack of, I guess they're like 3x8 or something, roughly 3x8 from Ali Edwards, that has all kinds of like different 3x8 sheets. So there's these that are more like pieces of paper with patterns on them, or journaling areas. And there's also some transparencies. They might have been from like a previous year, but she had them on her website, so I grabbed them. And I think they'll really come in handy. And this one worked out perfectly. So I think I've seen Allie do this before, and I'm sure a lot of people have done this. But so to cover up my photo, I only made that hinge cover up the right side, as I mentioned before. And then the left side is going to be covered by this piece of paper. But this piece of paper here is going to, turn in the album just like normal. So you can see that I punched holes in it. So it's just going to, be put right into the binder. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out how I wanted to decorate this smaller page. So I'm kind of figuring that out. I did have this Strand sticker, so I end up using that, and I just cover up the loving this story that was at the top of that card. So I add all of these foam dots and I put it in here, and I do end up removing the foam dots later because these are so thick. Like, this gives you way too much foam. You could definitely have them half this size and it would still be fine. But whichever ones I bought from scrapbook.com are just insanely tall. And my album is already getting, you know how you start to feel like when you're mid-month or 10 stories in or so, you're like, okay, whoa, my album's getting too full. Am I going to be able to fit it all? And that's kind of where I am right now. So I'm trying to, not use the bulk where I can. So I end up just taking that off. So I don't have any dimension on there, but it is what it is. It looks better with the dimension, but I'm trying, you got to reduce that bulk. So that's what I'm going to do. So then I added on my journaling, which I'm again just using the Avery sticker paper. So I'm adding that on. I'll add a few other embellishments here and there. And then on the back, I used another photo, which I just printed to size. And it was of this really cool decorated book stack that they had at the Strand that looked like a Christmas tree. So I had to add that in there as well. So as I kind of just do some finishing touches and whatnot, I'll continue to tell you my story. So yeah, Dash and Lily is such a cute Christmas show that I absolutely adore and I watch every year. And it's kind of like a grumpy sunshine type thing, and it is about Christmas. So Lily loves Christmas and Dash is kind of over it, and it's how they kind of learn from each other as they develop this friendship and this love and all that, all that stuff. But the main story does start, and kind of their whole story begins, and a lot of the story takes place at the Strand Bookstore. So I knew, okay, I want to go there for Christmas. It would be so fun to just pop in there because I knew we were going to be around the area. We were going to the Union Square Christmas markets. And so it was right around there. So we just walked over to the Strand and it was really fun. We both love bookstores, so it was a good time. So now you kind of get the idea here. That's my new 2-inch round circle punch. So the ones that I used in the last video were 2.5, and I wanted one just a little bit smaller. So I ordered this one off of Amazon. So I have these smaller circles. So I just printed off. I looked on Google. I found a few images from Dash and Lily. And so I'm cutting those out with little circles, and I was going to put those down the side with the Santas. So we have Lily in the middle. She does have bookshelves behind her when she's in the Strand. And then we have Dash at the top where he's like in the middle of the Strand looking up, and then Dash at the bottom where he's outside, and you can kind of read Strand Bookstore. So I thought that was really cute, and I wanted to give that nod to the movie because although I love a bookstore, and I think this is like a really iconic bookstore for New York, I really only know about it and honestly care about it so much because of the movie Dash and Lily. So that is pretty much how that page is going to look. I do end up adding a little bit of stitching off camera, which you will see on my photos that I put online. And then of course you'll see that in the finished flip through if you watch that at the end of the year. But I did, after I finished my video, I went to my mom's sewing machine and I added just a little bit of stitching around a few parts on there. So now we're moving on to actually story 6. So we're working backwards. And this one's all about the Dyker Heights Christmas lights. So this was so phenomenal. So I knew I wanted to do a full-size photo for this story. So you can see that I printed off this picture of me standing in front of one of these super, super decorated houses. So this was really fun. Something that I've wanted to do for a few years now. A few years ago, me and Will watched a Dyker Heights walkthrough on YouTube, and I was just so amazed by all of these beautiful lights and just how decked out and just over the top everyone goes in this neighborhood. So I knew that I wanted to try to do that this year. So we did sign up for a tour. I wasn't sure, I'm from Mississippi. I don't know how it rolls there. So I wasn't sure, but honestly, we didn't really need the tour. We hung around with them for a little bit, but then we kind of went rogue and detoured off of it and did our own thing. But it was nice to kind of get going with them so we knew exactly where to go and all that kind of stuff. But it was super cool. So many beautiful houses, and we had so much fun. And this one in particular, so smart. They had this really cool red carpet area that was made for you to take a photo in front of their house, which I loved because sometimes it was a little hard to get a photo. But I mean, I've never seen Christmas lights like this before. So it was really special. And I'm a Christmas light freak. I love seeing Christmas lights. So this was like something that was super special to me. So just to add my journaling, I did the tried and true method of just adding a slit through my photo with an X-Acto knife. And then I cut out I just had a scrap piece of paper, added my sticker paper journaling on top, and then I just kind of cut it into a tag, added a punch so that I could put some sort of ribbon through it, and it was super easy. Then it'll just slide right through that little slit that I made, and we'll have kind of a partially hidden tag. Now, sometimes you might want the tag to be almost all the way hidden and it'll just have a little peekaboo. In this case, I kind of wanted that tag to stick out. I just thought it would be cute. So I wanted it to only go down so far. So then my number would be visible. So that was kind of my idea. So I had a number 5 out there. Really, it's number 6. So I am going to add that number 6 on. Now, off camera, I was kind of, fiddle farting around with the page. And I decided to add a few other embellishments. So I had a few of those 2.5-inch circles left from my previous story. So I do add one of those onto it. So I take my 6 off. I add one of the circles behind it, add a couple little stickers from the one of the Pink Fresh sticker sheets. So I do add a few more things. Again, you'll see that eventually later, but you get the general idea of what I'm doing here. So I'm going to add that down in there. And I love the way that that ends up looking. And I also love that all of these photos on the Strand side are hidden. So your eye has a place to kind of stop and rest, which was important. Now, my story number 8 is the hard story. So this is kind of what I was talking about in the last video, how I've had some really high highs and some really low lows over the past week or so. So our New York trip was so fun, so awesome, and we had such a great time. But then, unfortunately, 5 hours after we landed back home, my mom had a seizure and then eventually a second seizure. And it was bad, and she ended up being in the hospital from Monday evening until Friday morning. So we lost a week there, just about a work week at least. And she's still recovering at home from like a residual kind of back issue that tends to occur when she has these seizures and all kinds of stuff. And I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty, but it was really hard and had some really hard days. So of course, when you're documenting and when you're a scrapbooker, sometimes those things are difficult because I want to trudge ahead with my December daily. And for me, crafting is like a form of therapy for me. It's something that really makes me happy. And so I knew that I would want to continue with my scrapbook, and I wouldn't be able to just gloss over this huge thing that happened. I mean, it's going to definitely be a huge part of my December daily this year. So while we were in the hospital, I did take a couple pictures once my mom started feeling better, and I felt comfortable doing that. And the 2 pictures that I took were like an up close photo of our hands on my mom's hospital bed. So I had like a little recliner chair thing that they gave me where I was sleeping next to her every night. And then also I have this other one that's kind of more far away, and that one is also of our hands, but I did the 0.5 photo because we were watching Elf. So we found some Christmas movies on AMC, so we were able to watch Elf, and that like brightened up our time a little bit. So for this particular spread, I knew I wanted to add like several elements, but I wanted it to be kind of more simplistic and chill because of the subject matter. So I've seen people do these really cool heart pages in out their albums before. I didn't watch a tutorial or anything. I just had seen them and I just kind of did my own take on it. So I picked out my background paper, as you can see, and then I just took computer paper and I just doubled it. So I had 2 pieces of computer paper, folded it in half, and did the old school heart like you would do in elementary school or middle school or whatever, and cut out my heart so then they fit perfectly. Then I used that as a template and printed off my photos, and then also cut out some of the pink there to be paper on the front because I don't want it to all be white. So I just use that as a template, cut it out, and then I have them where they will fit nicely. So you'll see that I added my photos to the back heart, and now the front heart, I'm adding on the pink paper, and I'm going to stamp out a title that's going to go over the entire heart, and then you'll be able to flip the sides, and I'll have hidden journaling and my number and things like that, which you will see as we continue. So I did grab out some colored ink here, some Catherine Pooler ink, to give that pop of red. I just wanted it to be a little more festive than to have it all in black. So here I'm going to stamp Some Days Are Not So Very Merry. I think that's what I end up stamping. And I'm going to like fill that in, and I like how it's kind of hanging off the edges and stuff like that. So working on that, we're going to kind of skip ahead here in a second and you'll see it all completed. So I really like the way that that ended up looking. I was able to do like a big title, but keep it contained in the middle of the spread, which I like a lot. And you might have noticed I added washi tape on the back of this heart. So that was just to keep the heart obviously fully together, so then I could stamp and it would, stay together as if it's one piece and wasn't cut apart. Then I can remove the washi tape and then, we have it separate. So that worked out nicely for me. I'm going to add it onto the heart. And then I was trying to decide, basically because of bulk, did I want to keep those inside pieces white or did I want to add pattern paper? Ultimately, y'all know I like color, so I had to add some pattern paper. So after I get this in place, I am going to add some coordinating pattern paper into the inside so that none of it is white. The paper, this pink, and also the paper that I use on the inside is from a small paper pad, like a maybe 6x6 or 6x8 or something, paper pad from scrapbook.com. So you can see everything is just like really easy to open and close. And that's because I'm cutting everything down the middle so that it has like that little tiny space to easily turn and stuff, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted this to be really easy to open. So now here's where I'm adding on the other paper. So whenever you flip it, see I have the other cute little star paper on the inside. So at this point, I was kind of deciding, I used the same stamp set there, but with the numbers, and I was going to add an 8 in there. I do adhere it down. And then I do stamp an additional 8 in the inside. I'm not sure if I show that or not, but I'm going to change that here as we go. I'm going to add my journaling. I had to make the type really small. And I just gave the really general story here without much, not too much like emotion or details. I just kind of wanted to get the general story down. So I'm going to cut the excess sticker paper off, and then we'll have the story inside. I am going to add a couple small phrase stickers. I found, everything was super happy and jolly and Christmassy, but I found 2 phrase stickers. One said, all I want, ... I think. And then one said family. So I add that down at the bottom to kind of fill in that little bit of space. And then you can see that I added another little 8 inside of that stamped 8. And I don't know, it was bothering me. It's kind of ugly. So I was looking through my just different embellishments and stuff that I had from Pink Fresh. And I ended up finding a little tag that said something along the lines of like, what really is important at Christmas is not what is under the tree, but who is by the tree or something, who's beside the tree. And so I thought, or who's around it. It says it's not what's under it, it's who's around it. And so I thought, you know what? I like that sentiment a lot. So I just ended up taking off the 8. I add that on top because, of course, that was talking about my mom. And then I add a little gold 8 here at the top, and it fit perfectly, and that works out good for me. So my number's a little bit hidden, but it's there. So here I'm going to flip through. I actually sew through the middle of that. You'll see that later. I'm at the end of the video, so I hope you guys are having a wonderful December. Thank you so much for watching. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, friends, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, y'all.